life, indoors, whatever, LEDs or not. But in nature, they're not that lucky. Shading comes in all shapes and sizes. That was not even a joke, but okay. It matters apparently. So shades comes in all sizes and shapes. What happens in real life is that plants have to cope with it. They're not like us human beings. We see something and we can run away with it and be happy not having to deal with it. Plants, they don't move. Well, they can't actually, just take a cab and get away with it. They have to respond to it. And plants are not like us that can visually see, hey, there's a guy there, there's a guy there, there's a guy wearing in red. No, they can't do that. But plants are superheroes, in my point of view, at least the plants that I know. They can see beyond that visible range of light that we stupid, regular, normal human eyes can see. We see only a small spectrum of the whole light or radiation. Plants can see beyond that, just like, superheroes. Now, what happens in real life is that plants use that as a stress signal to understand what's going on around them and use that as a trigger to do something about it. Now, Sarah has just now made a very good example of how people are, could respond to signals when they say, everybody stands up and do a wave. I think I'm not gonna let you stand up, right? Well, you're wrong. So everybody has to stand up now. Okay. Oh, you guys are the best. Now I'm gonna ask. Let's say randomly from this group, every other, how do you call this in English? Column, row, whatever. You get what I mean. Every other people sit down. You lucky guys. It doesn't matter. The one from the left, or just randomly, some people sit down. That's fine. Okay, stop there. Stop there. Well, for those who are standing up, I'm sorry, you're just too slow. But that happens in real life. It happens in nature. It happens in a very dense plant canopy where some random plants are just taller than the others. By nature, or by chance, or by cheating, or by not cheating. Now, what happens in real life is that sunlight has a full spectrum. It has basically everything in terms of radiation, and they would shine on the plants, by which I mean you guys. And what happens there is that plants uses those light to produce, well, let's say, building blocks for their body. Yeah, it's a process called photosynthesis. If you haven't heard of it, come to Wageningen. We teach you that every day. And now these guys are standing. So what happens is that the light is going to hit these guys first. Yes. Right? So they're the lucky ones. They get the light first. Now, if you think about the light, you think about, everybody knows that I saw a rainbow flag somewhere over there. So it has all kind of colors. So plants, first of all, fun fact, plants don't really need the whole spectrum to survive. They can use basically most of the visible lights that we can see as a human eye. But anyway, so these standing guys, they would use a lot of those visible lights, and many of those are, for example, the red lights. They would use them for photosynthesis. They just take everything they want, they possibly can, and use them to grow even taller. What happens though is that there are also parts of the lights that are not being used by these lucky bastards, among which is the far red light. You might, for example, heard about it. For example, infrared sensing, your remote control at your home, those kind of things. Anyway, any wavelengths beyond or above 700 nanometers. So what it does is that these guys, they take all the red lights out, they use them, they get fat, they get tall. They produce things with them, and then the far red lights are not being used by them. So what happens now is that the light coming from these guys to the poor people, or the poor plants, that are unfortunately lower than them, is that there's a change in the spectrum. Well, you guys, if you're a plant, you wouldn't see that these people are standing, but you would feel it. You would sense it, like a Jedi Master. I'm so happy you get it. So you would sense that, hey, wait a minute, there's a drop in the ratio of the lights that I'm getting. So there must be somebody growing next to me. That's how plants sense neighbors. That's how they sense shade, because that also happens in shading. And also that's how plants sense stress and competition. Well, one of the ways. Now, the question goes to you guys who are a little bit lower in the height. What would you do if you want to compete for light? Where is the light? Right? Light is up there. So what you're gonna do? What are you gonna do if you want to go for the light? You stand up, right? Right, like, oh, you guys are probably come on, you gotta, yeah, that's what I meant. So you gotta stand up, she's trying.
Cheetah.
You gotta stand up, you gotta reach up. That's exactly what plant does when they are being shaded. They would do whatever they can to maximize their architecture as a plant. By architecture, I mean how they position their leaves, how they stretch, to get more light. Now that I think about it, I know why Dutch people are so tall now. I can hardly see any sunshine. We have so much sunshine in China. Okay, now that everyone is standing up, so that's the idea of how plant can use the part of the non-visible light that we as a regular human being don't see, use them as a signal to respond to nature stress. Now I think if the story ends there, you're probably right, but you're wrong. There's more going on. They don't only just grow up. By the way, you can sit if you want. So there's more to this. They also change their investment strategy. Like, I don't know, any rich superheroes, Bruce Wayne, I don't know, was that the guy, Tony Stark? Tony Stunk? You know, they get rich not because they're rich, they get rich also because they know how to invest. Plants do that the same. So the purpose of a plant in nature is to reproduce and make sure that they make seeds. They make sure that the next generation can get better, can survive in the nature. Well, they don't have the luxurious life of not having kids or something. So they would do whatever they can when they're under stress to make sure that their babies are fine. So what happens is that they would maximize the production or the growth of we call them the reproductive organs, flowers, fruits, right? To make sure that the seeds are fine. Now that I think about it, we're growing tomatoes, so what do we eat from the tomato? Well, if any one of you are eating tomato leaves, I'm sorry, but that's your choice. I'm not judging. But I think most of us eat fruit. So yeah, we want more fruits. That makes sense. And so why don't we treat them? Or, for the interest of the audience, why don't we dope them? That's exactly what I did. So I don't want to reduce the light or the red light that are so important for the photosynthesis. But it's all about the ratio, right? So I just get more far red light into it. So I add far red light into the greenhouse, and I basically tapped into this information or the signals that has been transpired, that have been translocated, just like what they did to the French guys. I tricked the tomatoes. Tell them, hey, guys, you're growing under stress, and you got to do something about it. So they was like, holy shit, there's stress. There's so much far red in my light. I'm feeling it, and I'm gonna grow like crazy. I'm gonna put a lot of energy, as much as possible, of those energy that I get, that I produce, the money I earn every day. I'm gonna give it to my fruits, to my babies, to my kids, just like every Asian parent, and make sure that they grow good. Well, unlike Mother Nature, pun intended, that when stress comes in, usually there's restriction in nutrient, but not in a nice managed Dutch greenhouse. They are so spoiled. So we provide them a stress signal, but we provide them also with as many nutrients, as much, whatever they want, to make sure that they grow happily. So in our lab experiment, in our lab conditions, we managed to get more than easily over 30% more tomatoes, simply by doping the plant, tricking the plant that you guys are under stress. Now that I think about it, the Chinese, well, we Chinese, have a saying that if you manage well, a stress could be a motivation. And that, kids, is how I met, that is how I doped my tomatoes legally.